Or it'll say, let us continue with this transmission in the following way. We have discussed along this notion of living in the moment the idea that what you choose your state of being to be is of paramount importance. State of being is the most critical issue, which is why in The Secret it was mentioned that the secret to the secret was simply choosing to be happy. For no other reason other than that is your preferred state of being. Because there is no empirical physical reality, then state of being really becomes the only thing that determines the experience that you have in the idea of physical reality, because that's all it is. It's an experience, it's an idea. That is what is real about it, the experience. But physical reality itself is not real by itself, on its own. As you choose the state of being that you prefer, or based on whatever beliefs you have within your physiological mind, personality, structure, as you choose beliefs that determine what your state of being will be, that, of course, is what determines how you experience this idea of yourself called physical reality. Because that's all it is. It's an experience of your own consciousness from a particular point of view, from a particular state of being that generates that kind of an effect within you, that you then call an externalized physical reality. Circumstances in physical reality, thus, are illusionary. They're just symbols. Again, as we have said many times, it's just a reflection based on what you are giving off. Now, The Secret calls this idea law of attraction the primary law. We refer to it as the third law of creation. It is, however, the first law of action, even within the four laws. Because the first law, that you exist, is simply a description of a state of being. The second law, that the one is all, the all are one, is also a description of the nature, of the structure of that state of being. But the third law, what you put out is what you get back, is the first law of action. And that is what is being said and the difference being made in The Secret by calling the law of attraction the first or primary law of the universe. Because it is the first law of action, and it's therefore the first law that actually brings about manifestational experience. Then the fourth law, everything changes except the first three laws, is what qualifies and colors that experience, what allows you different perspectives of the experience of creating the idea of physical reality. You will remember that what was also very important in The Secret was this idea that we talked about before about being passionate, as expressed in the concept of play, of playing with everything that happens in your reality, really having an attitude of gratitude toward it so that you receive every experience you have in a playful way, and thus by receiving it in that playful way can do that much more with it, be that much more creative with it, allow it to be that much more flexible, malleable, stretchable, changeable, formable. Play. That energy is what allows physical reality to become like clay. So play with the clay of physical reality If you approach it from an energy, state of being, that is of a lower vibration, that's when the clay hardens. That's when it's unchanging in that state. But as soon as you start to be more playful with what's going on in your life, it softens and becomes clay-like, plastic, malleable, formable, changeable again, and gets in step with the fourth law, as you do. Change is the only constant. So in that sense, when you become more playful, you become more changeable. And as a result, your physical reality will mirror that changeability. Become easier to transform from one kind of reflection to another. Now, very important, very important, very important. This is where physical mind, once again, can sometimes get caught up in its own sense of control. And that is that when we talk about the idea that what you put out is what you get back, the physical mind, because, again, of how it looks at physical reality being the only thing there is, will assume that if it doesn't see an exact one-to-one reflection in the circumstances that surround you with what it is you believe you're giving off, you will think that something has failed. Again, I remind you, this is where you get caught in your own paradoxical trap. Even though it is true that what you put out is what you get back, and that by being in a certain state of being, that will determine what the circumstances around you are, the first stage of that, the first manifestation of that will be usually, especially in your world of space and time, usually the first reflection will look the same as it used to. Because this gives you an opportunity to reinforce the state of being by responding to the circumstances that look the same differently than you did before. And that is where you then allow the circumstances to truly reflect that you have changed, and demonstrate that you truly have changed by responding to the circumstances differently, even if they look the same as they used to. That's how it works. So the first reflection will usually be an echo of how it used to look. You must not respond to the echo as if that's the representation of your new state. You must respond to it, in a sense, as if you know it's just an echo, and that what you're putting out now, the new response to the old circumstances, that will solidify the vibration of your preferred state of being and truly allow the circumstances to change themselves and take their cue from the new vibration you're putting out, which is the absolute certainty that you are different. Because if you respond to the old echo in the same way you used to, you are not different. So in a sense, it's like you're testing yourself. It's like you're giving yourself an opportunity to decide whether you really do want the circumstances to change by first presenting yourself very often with the same set of circumstances to see if you respond differently to them, making a clear commitment that you have, in fact, vibrationally changed your state of being. Once you have then done that and respond differently to the same set of circumstances, then you have established that you truly have changed, and then the circumstances can reflect that change. So don't be fooled by the echo into thinking you've done something wrong by labeling it in the same way you used to. Oh, I didn't see what I wanted to get immediately. It looks the same as it did before. The same people are here giving me the same kind of feedback. I must have done something wrong, or something's not working. Or you find that you're reacting to it in the same way you used to, because if you do, you have not changed. So that's the self-reinforcing mechanism that gives you the opportunity to decide whether you really want to change that circumstance or not. Because again, remember, all belief systems by definition are self-reinforcing. They have to be. If belief systems were not self-reinforcing and making themselves seem like the only thing there is to believe in, you wouldn't be able to have an actual distinct, discrete belief system experience. If beliefs did not come with a self-reinforcing mechanism, you wouldn't be able to have a discrete physical experience. And because they come with a self-reinforcing mechanism, when you change your vibrational state, one of the last things to fade will be the self-reinforcing mechanism. It will present the same scenario to you once again, but it will be presented not as a concrete reality, but only as an illusion, only as an echo of what was, to give you a chance to really decide that you will break through that self-reinforcing mechanism by defining and labeling it differently than you used to, proving that you have changed, thus allowing the reflection to then truly come. That's how that works. Use that mechanism to your advantage by understanding very clearly. And if you wish to use this almost as a mantra, you certainly may. Again, as we discussed last night, all of these things are nothing more than permission slips that, if you decide they work for you, if you decide they resonate according to your frequency, will simply allow you to permit yourself to change in the way you prefer to. The mantra doesn't do it for you. It simply is a reflection of the belief system within you that says this is what you will allow to give you permission, to give yourself permission to change in the way you wish to. So use this as a mantra if you wish, if it works for you, knowing that you're doing it if you need it at all. And that is, again, the idea, not even so much the statement that circumstances do not determine state of being. State of being determines circumstances. Now, you can use that. However, we would also suggest something even simpler and something even stronger. And that is simply, and the mantra is this: circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. And again, listen to the way that this synchronistically translates in your English language. Circumstances don't matter. They do not create materialization. Only state of being matters. Only state of being materializes experience. So, the mantra is, anytime you find yourself doubting, stuck, fearful, because of what you believe the situation is, what you believe the circumstances are, you can, if you wish, use this little reminder. Circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. And then choose the state of being you prefer. And then redefine the circumstances from that state of being, so that you can erase the echo and allow the true reflection to then take form from your state of being. Circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. Now, we apologize if what we are about to do with you, to some of your physical minds, may sound, a little cultish. It isn't meant this way. It's simply meant to express to you something very important. It's one thing very often to your physical minds when you hear someone else's voice say something. It's another when your own voice says it. So, repeat out loud after me. Circumstances don't matter.
Circumstances don't matter.
Only my state of being matters.
Only my state of being matters.
Now, do it with excitement in a calm way. Because what this begets is simple certainty. Repeat. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. One more time. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. One more time. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. Understand. When you say this to yourself in your own vibrational voice, you will start to listen. Because what you're doing by making this statement is what we talked about earlier. You are voicing a message from the higher self in language the physical mind understands. This mantra and all mantras of this nature are exactly that kind of tool. It is a way of translating for the physical mind in terms it can understand a communication from the higher self. That's why they're powerful, if you agree that it's a permission slip that works for you. So, anytime you find yourself in doubt, in fear, confused about the circumstances going on, stop. Say to yourself, out loud, no matter how many people might think you're crazy. Yes, of course, yes, of course, yes, of course, you can say it inside your head if you wish to. But if you're really being bold, and if it's really important to you to have the reality you prefer, then make a commitment and say it out loud. You don't have to shout, you don't have to scream. But stop and say, circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. What state of being do I prefer? Then choose. And as you choose, behave that way toward the circumstances. You will be amazed at how quickly it will evaporate. You will take people off guard. At the very least, they might say, "Oh, she's crazy," and move away. And then you won't have to deal with them anymore. So one way or another, it will create the bubble reality of your preferred vibration and will act as an organizing principle and driving engine to move out of that bubble any vibration that is incompatible. It is one of the strongest, most centering statements you can make for yourself. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. What state of being do I prefer? Then behave that way. That's all there is to that idea of centering. That's all there is to the idea of redefining, re-identifying yourself and remaining on the cutting edge, the leading edge, the crest of the wave of the transformation. That's really all it takes. Now, to whatever degree your physical mind's belief system will allow you to believe that is your process to work on, if such a process is even needed. But I guarantee you, if you can truly, as you say, get into the absolute certainty of that statement, if you can truly understand that it is a true message from your higher self in physical mind terminology, and you truly pay attention to it, don't just get caught up in rote repetition until your voice becomes a droning thing you no longer hear. But when you truly say it in your own voice and truly listen to your own voice and pay attention to the vibration of your own voice saying it, you will hear the truth in it. And as soon as you really hear the truth in it, you will feel your entire physical being go, "Oh, I don't have to try so hard. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Only my state of being matters. Oh, oh, joy. What is this feeling? What is this feeling? Oh my gosh, it's so foreign. Joy? Unbridled, unconditional love and joy. I'm tingling. You know, I like this sensation. I think I'll create more of it. Now, then. We love your paradoxical language. No wonder you're so confused. Now, then. Now or then? All right. Here and now, let us have sharing with questions if you wish. Yes. All right. Organize how you wish.
People can come up here to the mic. There's 3 seats here. Hi, Bashar.
And to you, a good day.
Thank you so much for this session. It is just hitting the spot for me, and I think other people here.
Thank you for allowing us to hit your spot.
I'm really resonating with so much of what you're saying, and the issue, I just want to share where I'm at in my state of being at this time.
All right.
And some of the joy and other things I'm dealing with. So my organization, Create Now,
Yes.
which helps troubled youth through the arts, is exploding in many different ways.
All right.
I'm touching people around the world. I'm getting top media exposure. I'm getting recognition and awards for my work, and I'm sharing the secret with many of the troubled kids that I'm serving.
May I ask you to stop right there for a moment?
Sure.
Listen to the tonal quality of this recitation. You can tell just by listening to the way you are inflecting each of those statements that eventually you will arrive at a but.
Yes, I understand.
In other words, each of those statements unto itself should be a definitive statement with an absolutely energetic definitive stop that has nothing to do with leading to a but.
Yes.
And that's the difference in the state of being you need as opposed to the state of being you're creating.
Thank you. That's wonderful. So it should be, I'm experiencing all of this joy and recognition, and I'm thrilled.
Yes. Are you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for reflecting that to me.
My pleasure.
The challenge I'm having is
Yes.
that I'm
It's
not...
all right to acknowledge the challenge as long as it is definitively different than the recognition of what you are not challenged by, so that they are not interlinked and connected. You follow me?
Yes, and I'm...
So that you recognize that it's two different states of being and you can deal with it as such.
Yes.
So very good. Your challenge is?
I'm not getting the material abundance that I need to live a comfortable life.
A comfortable life.
And
Which means what?
Well, the primary issue is I have my basic needs fed at the moment.
Basic needs, all right.
Room and shelter and food
Yes.
and whatever.
Maybe you should expand your definition of basic needs.
Yes, and my other basic need is I'm driving a 14-year-old car with no air conditioning,
Yes.
and it's very uncomfortable.
All right.
And I've been using The Secret for months
I see.
to
what?
feel the excitement of
Yes.
having my dream car, which would be a Prius.
Yes.
I'm feeling it. I'm visualizing it. I'm
Yes.
pretending I'm having one. I've
Have you
sat in
gone
one.
to the car dealer?
I've sat in one. I've been hesitant because my
Yes.
credit is not there, and normally the car dealers won't let you take a ride unless they go through a credit check.
Normally.
Yes.
You see, that's where you're at.
Well,
normal.
Uh-huh.
What's normal got to do with what you prefer to be? This is where we hearken back to the example we gave before your lunch break. Can the rational mind actually imagine the possibility that something could happen out of the blue with any logical appearing connection?
Yes.
Can you imagine the car manifesting without your rational mind having to figure out how it would normally have to happen.
Yes.
Because you see, that's what you're muddying this up with, is no matter how excited you get, you still bring to bear the idea of the rational mind's need to know how the heck is this going to happen.
Right, and that's why I related so much to what you've been saying about this idea of control and letting go and letting the higher self control it.
Yes.
And I appreciate that so much.
Well, all right, then, if so, use it. And start today by allowing yourself to recognize that circumstances don't matter. So anything that you now have labeled or mentioned that is in your physical mind's estimation a circumstance connected to the manifestation of the car, let the circumstances go. The circumstances don't matter. Only the state of being does. So if you are willing to simply be the state of being of someone who has the car and absolutely forget about how that's supposed to happen, then you will allow your reality to attract that idea. But that's not what you're doing.
Well, for instance, I received a card in the mail from a credit card company through my business offering me a loan to go get a car at any car dealer.
But
that means I have to go through my board of directors and take out a loan.
You see, you have used it enough to attract an opportunity within the realm of your belief system, yet at the same time, because it's only within the realm of your physical mind's belief system, it always comes with a caveat of how.
Right.
You need to disassociate this completely. You have proven to yourself you can attract by attracting the loan. But the idea is that it only came in a form that is reflective of the fact that you still think there are strings attached.
Yes.
Well, you have to let that go. You have to completely let go of that concept entirely in order to experience the kind of manifestation that we in The Secret are talking about.
So would that mean pursuing the loan and not worrying about the strings attached?
It depends on what you think your belief system can handle. But what it actually empirically means is allowing yourself to simply let go of how you think it must happen at all, and being in a state of freedom that way, being inspired to allow your imagination to move you to do things you would otherwise not normally do. Go to a car manufacturer and say, I am doing this in the world. We would love it if you would donate a car for our use. Okay, here you go.
Thank you.
There are many, many, many things you could do that would not be, in your mind's estimation, normal. That's just one small example. But the point is you will never be creatively inspired to even think of those kinds of things if you are not actually willing to be in the state of being you want to be in and forget the circumstances. It will never come to you to think about that, to ask something that other people would think that's outrageous. Who would ever just give us a car? That'll never happen. I have to do this. I have to do that. It must come with this string. It must come that way. You have to let all of those assumptions go, because that's all they are. They are assumptions. And again, don't get caught up in it again by saying, oh, all right, I'm just going to let all that go. And now I'm just going to be in the state of being. Oh, my car didn't show up today. Something's wrong. Once again, you went right back into assumptions. Just be the state of being. Use the car as a symbol. Let it come to you how it will. Let the higher self bring it how it needs to come. And just get on with your life, staying in the state of being you prefer to be in, and acting through inspiration and imagination on the things that pop up symbolically that have to do with that when and where you can, again, without expectation, without assumption, and without needing to know how that might actually work. Just do it because you're moved to do it. So if you happen to be in that state of being, and you happen to be walking down the sidewalk, and you happen to be walking past a car dealership, and walking past the dealership reminds you of the joy of being in that car. Present tense, not future, present tense. The joy of having that car, then that joy could inspire you to suddenly turn on your heel, run up the driveway, walk into the showroom and say, "Give me a car. I deserve it, and this is why." And just see what happens. And even if it doesn't happen the way you think, starting to behave that way will get you into the habit of being in the proper state where anything can happen. You need to loosen up the structure that you have imposed upon how you think you need to go about doing this, so that you look a little bit crazy. It's all right. Be a little bit crazy. It's all right to be just a little bit crazy. Because you see, if you're just a little bit crazy in just the right way, people just say, "She's creative." Being creative is being a little bit crazy in just the right vibration. With that in mind, you should understand God's completely insane. Who else but an insane being would think up your planet? Oh! But who else but an insane being would believe that unconditional love and unending ecstasy and joy are also normal? But that's the reality. All that is. Does this make some sense?
It does, and it relates to the second part of this, which is all coming into place for me, which is that the other passion that I have are my screenplays and the book I'm working on, and the fear that sometimes creeps into my thoughts that how can I do both when I have so much to juggle now?
But you already do understand, as we have said many times, that your passion and your joy and the thing that excites you the most is not only the driving engine, but also the organizing principle, which will allow everything to mesh in perfect harmony and synchronicity if it is truly representative of the state of being of your true self. So there is, again, no need to worry. What's the word? How is all that going to fit? It just will.
Thank you so much for reflecting that to me.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bashar. You're awesome.
I know. We know that when we say, "It just will," that there are still portions of your physical mind going, "I can't accept that, it's too vague." In this case, vagueness is your friend. Relax your hold, the stranglehold that many of you have on how things need to happen, and allow your higher self to do its job. The phrase, "it just will," is the physical mind's translation of the higher self's message, "I've got it, relax."
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. You were talking about permission slips and methodologies.
I was.
Yes. A long time ago, I heard a Ramtha tape saying that pyramids were an amplifier. They enhanced one's ability to manifest. And I was wondering if it's just a permission slip.
Everything is just a permission slip. That doesn't mean that that's not what those things do, because you have created them to do so as a reflection to you that allows you to be who you are. It's, remember, not this or that, it's this and that. Spiritual growth is the product of including all the definitions and recognizing that all the definitions are true and not excluding anything, and just getting that to work for you. So yes, pyramids are like amplifiers. They're like focusing lenses for electromagnetic energy. Yes, they do that. but they are only an idea in your consciousness. So who's actually doing it? You are. Because there is no physical reality. When you say the pyramids, you're talking about something as if it actually existed outside your consciousness. Just because it's made of stone and has been around for thousands of years doesn't mean it's outside your consciousness. Does that make sense?
Perfectly, thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
And to you, good day.
I would love to own my own home.
Oh, you go right ahead then.
Now, in The Secret,
Yes.
it would seem, to my understanding,
Yes.
that what one should do is focus on the exact perfect home for me.
Yes.
Now,
This functions as a template. Because you see, again, it's a permission slip. The home may or may not look exactly like you imagine it. But whatever in your mind, whatever in your visualization is the ideal representation, the ideal permission slip, will resonate with your preferred vibration. And then the higher self will bring you the idea that actually is representative of your true high frequency, even if it's a little bit different than what your physical mind was capable of imagining. But it still functions as a template to get you on the right resonant frequency. That's what it's for. So if you use it, imagine it in all the details you can, perfectly as you can, it will get you more excited because it's more representative of what you believe you want. And by getting more excited, you will then attract exactly what will really serve you. Make sense?
it does.
So it's the idea of focusing on a specific, but allowing the general to manifest in a specific way that is actually more representative than anything your physical mind could actually have imagined. Because you see, when people insist that it must look exactly this way, exactly that way, sometimes they may be right on in alignment, and they may get exactly that reflection. But the point is that if you don't insist that it must look exactly that way, and if you're open to the possibility that it could be something grander, your higher self will always bring you something better. So if you insist it must be this way, you're actually insisting that it shouldn't be even better than you can imagine. Does that make sense?
Well, what I was wondering is if,
Yes.
if it's possible, my way seems to be to walk down the street and
Yes.
I'd imagine living in that house, in that house, in
Yes.
that house. What would
Yes.
it be like to live in a tree? I
All
wonder what it would
right.
be like to live in a bus station. Now, could I
All right.
dilute?
All right, but
My
that's perhaps
focus.
simply the process you enjoy to give yourself the understanding that you can imagine anything and any one of those things could come to pass. And it gives you the opportunity to understand that all of those choices are equally valid.
But is it a roundabout way? Do I have to live in all these places before I get
No.
the right one?
No, you don't have to. You may only be proving to yourself that all the choices are equal, which means that no one has to stand out, which means being equal, you can choose the one you prefer. But that may just be your way of allowing all the choices to seem equal.
A level playing ground.
Exactly. Because only when all choices are valid and all choices are allowed to be equal and no choices are judged as being less than another choice or better than another choice, do you actually give yourself the ability to actually choose what you prefer. Because when you invalidate something, all your energy goes towards suppressing its validity. And that's what manifests. Make sense?
Thank you, yes.
Does that help?
It does.
Then happy walking.
Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Thank you for teaching us.
Thank you for teaching us.
My question is with regard to